This might be the last video I do in a series of videos that I've done. I didn't even intend on it being a series of videos involving James Gunn. Now, the first time I spoke about James Gunn, it was all, I would say, well into last year, maybe sometime over the summer, when some tweets came out that he posted at the time was like 10 years old or something to that effect. And it was basically about him making jokes about pedophilia, which I don't know how anybody can joke about pedophilia and think that shit is even remotely funny. But anyway, he made some jokes about him, and the thing is, it was a whole bunch of them. It was so many that he ended up scrubbing his Twitter account of like 10,000 plus tweets that involved it in a quote unquote joking way. I guess they have to say, well, it was meant as a joke to try to give cover to it. But I don't, whatever. It's whatever. Um, then it came out that Disney ended up firing him from, their studios, and he was set to direct the third Guardians of the Galaxy film. He already did part two, which was actually pretty good. And I was actually looking forward to the third one, especially with how it ended. I was like, oh, okay, so he's gone. Who are they going to bring in to replace him? But those tweets really left a bad taste in my mouth. Like I said, I don't like when people joke about pedophilia. Like, there's some things that I really believe people should not touch on. And the molesting of children and the raping of kids is definitely one of them. It's pretty much in my top 5. Damn near number 1 spot. But so months go on by, and they're wondering and they're trying to figure out they're going to get to direct the third Guardians of the Galaxy film, and they're not coming up with any directors. Dave Bautista, who plays Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy, who is this individual right here, doesn't, he's like the only person who's coming to bat for James Gunn. Like, he is being his number one cheerleader, like the only one. Maybe other cast members are coming to his defense, but not the way that he was like literally putting his neck out there for him. And then it came out that James Gunn got hired by Warner Brothers to do not one but 2 films for them. One of them being called Brightburn, which comes out in May, which looks like it's supposed to be a origin story if Superman was evil. And then the nail in the coffin was him getting signed on to do what is called The Suicide Squad, which is supposed to be, I guess, a sequel to the first one. And it's called The Suicide Squad. Like, the first one was just called Suicide Squad without the. So I guess it's a whole different film. And that's when I believe Disney was like, okay, he's about to do these 2 movies for Warner Brothers, and one of them is definitely a DC related movie. Remember, Disney owns Marvel. Warner Brothers owns DC. DC and Marvel are rivals. They know how good of a director James Gunn is. And I truly believe the reason why, and the only reason why Disney bought him back, is because they know that he will be competition for them. And they can't afford that. And also, they couldn't find another director to want to do it, to want to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So he has recently just been reinstated back at Disney Marvel as director to helm Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And now it's so crazy because I think, like, if they would have started filming, the movie would have most likely came out sometime next year. But at this point, we'll be lucky if it even comes out next year. It'll most likely come out in 2021, and it kind of messes everything up because, every Marvel movie is set to have a trilogy, meaning this will be his last part. And I was actually looking forward to it because at the end of the second one, they teased the Adam Warlock character. You don't see him, but his name is mentioned. And Adam Warlock, for those of you who read comics, is a very powerful individual. I wish if they went by the comics, he would have been in Infinity War, or at least Endgame. But that's another topic for another time. But yeah, it's very interesting that they're bringing him back in, and people saying, oh, they're rejoicing and everything like that, and they're saying everybody deserves a second chance. But it's very interesting how when those tweets came up about Kevin Hart and what he said back in 2009 came up, nobody was saying he deserved a second chance. He bowed out of doing the Oscars because he knew that he would have faced a lot of backlash. So he said, I'm gonna do myself a favor and I'm going to drop out before the Oscars and the Academy give me a chance to send me away. And notice they were scrambling to find a host, so that was kind of karma on their part. They couldn't find a host for that damn boring ass show. But the point of the matter is, white individuals, whether man or woman, in this industry can fuck up so many times, and they are allowed second, third, fourth, fifth, 100 chances to right the wrongs that they made up, even though by the time they get to that a certain amount of level of chances given, they realize that they're just a natural fuck up. But when you're black in this industry, whether you're a man, woman, or whatever, you fuck up one time and that's it. Look at what's going on with Jussie Smollett. Now granted, that was a major fuck up, but it was his first one. 10 years down the line, people are going to continue to remind him of what he did. James Gunn posted those tweets about those pedophilia jokes and them pictures, which were utterly disgusting to me. Though, you know, the ones that, you know, he said he went to some kind of party and they was dressed up as adults and had some of the other ones dressed up as little kids, and they were like, I'm not even going into the detail, but anyway, James Gunn will be forgiven for those tweets. As you can see, Disney reinstating him is basically their apology to him. They're probably saying, I don't know what we were thinking letting you go. And to be quite honest, James Gunn had already been attached to Disney while those tweets were out. So I'm going to ask a question to Disney that many people asked months ago when this came out. Disney, if you can hear me, if James Gunn was working with you all those years ago when those tweets first came out, how in the hell did you not know that he put those out there and you're just now being outraged about it? I think Disney knew about it, but they tried to play like they didn't. But see, this getting unearthed, it was too much for them to just turn a blind eye to it. And they said, okay, we just got to let you go right now. But to be honest, I don't think they even actually fired him. I think they just put him on the back burner a little bit. And then they probably had a ploy and said they probably didn't think he was going to do anything. But he was like, you know what? I just can't sit idly by and do nothing. So I'm going to go over to your competition and I'm not going to do one, but I'm going to do 2 movies. And then that's when Disney wants to say, oh, okay, we need to debate this because we need to bring him back in. It's almost like you're a benched player. He's back in the game. He's back in the starting lineup on that starting 5 and that roster, and they're bringing him back in because they need that movie to be made and they can't find anyone else to do it. So really, I think that's why Disney did it, is because he was working with the competition. If he was not working with the competition, James Gunn would not have gotten quote unquote rehired by Disney. I mean, they've already dragged it out this long. They would have continued to drag it on some more. And the thing is, they're also trying to appease the fans because many of them want to see that third Guardians of the Galaxy film, especially since how the second one ended, because they want to see that Adam Warlock character. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. So as many things at work here, but the main one is because he was going to the competition and he was about to make them, or he is, because it's not like he's dropping from making Suicide Squad. He's already attached to it, so he has to do it by obligation and contract. Otherwise, they will sue his ass, and he'll be out from over there, and he'll be blackballed probably from Warner Brothers. So he's probably going to make that movie, and that'll be it. Unless he's tied to a contract, then he's going to have to continue to do so. So really, the only person who's coming out winning here is James Gunn, because he's now attached to 2 projects for Warner Brothers, one that's done, one that has not started yet, and now he's about to be reattached to Disney to complete the trilogy for a franchise that is very successful. So he's the only one winning right now. But like I said, he is allowed to get chance after chance after chance. Someone like myself, if I did put out something like that, what he did, which I would never do, but something that they would deem controversial, that's it. They would literally throw the nail in the coffin, marked my career, and bury it. But y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I will talk to you in the next one. I wanted to come back and insert something in here that I had just actually found out after I made the initial recording of this video. So it turns out, and this is something that I heard at the last minute, and I'm glad I caught it. It turns out that James Gunn was never actually fired from Disney. That was just a cover. See, what a lot of people forgot is that when James Gunn's stuff got exposed, when his Twitter feed got exposed with those tweets, that was around the time when Disney and I believe Comcast were in that bidding war to get 20th Century Fox, in which Disney did eventually win, and I think the deal is getting finalized sometime next week. and they had to do something to, you know, get James Gunn to be not so much quiet, but say that he's no longer associated with us, in order for them to, you know, go forward with that acquisition, because Fox wasn't probably going to give it to them if he was still attached, or they didn't want to run the risk of losing that bidding war, especially since they got so close to it. And how ironic that it's announced that James Gunn has got rehired by Disney right when the acquisition will be complete next week. So now it all really makes sense.